this is Josh from the CAE at Tyndale. So you're taking an online course and you got to do these forum discussions. Here's everything you need to know about those. Basically, an online forum is a place where people go to have discussions over the internet. They're essentially messaging boards where people post detailed messages for others to respond to. At Tyndale, usually you only have to take these if you're doing an asynchronous online course. If you've seen my other video on courses and course pages, maybe you'll recall that professors divide their course pages into weekly sections. There's usually one section for every week of the semester. So whenever you have to participate in a forum discussion, what you'll do is you'll go and look for that section of the week, and there you'll usually find a link to the forum. It'll look something like this. And once you open it, you'll often see your professor's instructions for what he or she would like you to discuss with your peers. Alternatively, sometimes they post a document with instructions above or below the link, so keep an eye out for that. It's pretty important to follow their instructions if you want a good grade. And once you've opened the forum, what you'll see is a page like this, a collection of individual discussions that are taking place, which have all been made by either your peers or your professor. Essentially, your job is to participate in some of these discussion threads and start a thread of your own. Now obviously this is subject to your professor's expectations, but often professors will ask you to start your own forum thread and then post 2 to 4 comments, if not more, in response to your other classmates' discussion threads. As a result, each discussion thread ends up being an elaborate conversation with several voices engaging in a certain topic, which has usually been selected by your professor and or your classmates. Now you might ask, how much do I write when I start my own thread or respond to someone? Well, usually your professor will provide guidelines for how many paragraphs or sentences you should write. My rule of thumb is that if you have to write 1 paragraph, you're looking at somewhere between 4 and 10 sentences. That's just for 1 paragraph. So if you have to write, say, 2 paragraphs, you're looking at 8 to 20 sentences or so. With that said, this implies that you're not just doing any sort of casual writing or messaging. You're not text messaging here. Instead, you're expected to write professionally and academically. So yes, that still means you're providing citations, unless your professor says otherwise. At the same time, you're not writing a full-fledged paper here. A forum discussion is a little more flexible than that, so you don't necessarily have to go overboard with all the formatting. Usually people just provide basic citation information in parentheses at the end of the sentence, regardless of what citation style the course uses. Maybe something like this, just to give you an example. Just provide the source's last name and page number. That's usually enough. But please always defer to your professor's expectations. Ask them if you want how they would like you to cite sources. And speaking of writing professionally and academically, please avoid casual language, acronyms, and emojis. Write clearly and concisely. Integrate course material into your discussion while providing thoughtful reflections. And most importantly, please make sure that your contributions are relevant to the topic being discussed. And now, if you're not sure what to write while responding to others, because sometimes we get stuck, here's some things that you can do. Basically, just highlight what you agreed with or appreciated about your peer's post. Maybe offer a suggestion or an alternative to something you didn't agree with. And feel free to ask questions. Questions are great. At the very least, it'll give other people something to respond to. And if I could give you one last piece of advice, whenever you respond to someone else's post, make sure to mention their name at the start, just like you would while writing an email. This just helps make it clear who you're responding to, thus making the conversation a little less confusing for everyone. Anyway, that's it for now. This has been Joshua Matter from the Center for Academic Excellence, and I'll see you next time.